I don't really get a chance to see a holiday classic demo very much, so I'm going to record this. I don't think we have one on our YouTube list of channels either, so this would be a good one to add to our library. So having an actual live group of students kind of makes it helpful as well. So good morning, good afternoon again. Welcome to our event. When it's time for the end of the event, I'll let you know. We'll try the little breakout room, and you'll get to. We'll get to that a little bit later. But in the meantime, Mr. Sean Maloney, who is this person right here, um, is going to be playing and demonstrating one of his favorite Lowrey models called the Lowrey Holiday Classic.
Yes, indeed.
And it was actually when this instrument was introduced, became one of the most impressive. It was probably one of the best values that Lowrey ever had in their history because of its size and the amount of features in it. So, but you know what? That's for Sean to tell. If I have to say all the stuff, then he won't have
That's my
anything to
job.
say. So, Mr. Sean Maloney, you go ahead and get started, and then I will come back and give some instructions on the breakout room stuff and what have you. So, take it away. 3, 2, 1, action.
All right. Well, yes, as you heard Robert told me, I get to play on one of my favorite instruments, so I'm just going to keep it light and keep it fun because we're here for a fun experiment later on. But yeah, I chose the Holiday Classic. It's just a heck of an instrument. What I really enjoy about it is what he said too, the size and just the comfort. It's just a nice sized instrument. It's not huge. It doesn't take over the whole living room. And it's something like I think a lot of the people on here might have something similar or something close to size-wise. So I figured this would be a good experiment for today, just to play on here, have a good time. If you got any questions, you can ask anytime. But I'm going to go ahead and play a little song, and I'm just going to kind of show you how easy this is. Not just this instrument, all the instruments, but I'm going to put on an introduction and just play a song and see how we do here. I'm going to actually switch cameras too, because I've got one all the way over here. See? And away we go. There we go. Hit the wrong button, but that's okay. Nobody here does that, I'm sure. So, all
Good
right.
job.
So that's just an example, like I said, of how easy it is to play any of these types of instruments, especially this one. I love the Holiday Classic. Robert actually gave me the opportunity when we started this venture, I should say, of teaching from home. He said, "Well, you want to keep one at home just in case you need to do some playing on it or teaching from your house. You might have to work remotely once in a while." And I said, "Well, I guess I can do that. Sure. What do I get?" And he said, "Pick an organ." And I said, "Oh, shoot. Okay. I want the Holiday Classic." So I actually have one of these at my home that I get to use. So like I said, very comfortable. I've used it all the time. Sometimes I'm up at the middle of the night, I can't sleep, I go play. And I'm sure some of you guys do that too. I've heard a lot of stories of that. So the reason this sounds so nice too, and especially a simple song like that, "Oh, when the Saints Go Marching In," you've heard it 1,000 times, you've played it 1,000 times, I'm sure. What makes it so fun to play on something like this too is the background. If you listen between those notes I was playing, the background was playing along with me. So that comes from added memory. So this is actually one of the first in the A series line. So when you hear us talk about in classes, this is on the A series. This is an A300. So it's got all the best memory and the best computers built inside of it, and just a beautiful, beautiful cabinet. Ah, just beautiful. So another thing I like to do when I'm sitting at home and I don't know what I want to do for the day is I like to sit and play not just any old song, but I like to play with my favorite artists. And some of my favorite artists are country artists. I like to play. There's a couple new rhythms in here where not only is it just country, it's this one's called Easy Country, and it actually brings out one of my favorite country piano players that you get to play along with, free of charge. So I get to play with my buddy Floyd Kramer. So here's Floyd Kramer on the Holiday Classic here. Let's switch to this again. And I'm just going to use one finger chords because I am a hobbyist and I'm just playing for fun. Isn't that fun? So I can play just two fingers. Like I said, get up in the middle of the night. You're at home. You want to play with your favorite artist. Just touch country and play with Floyd. And you got his piano sound. He had a very specific piano sound when he would play. So I had him on my right hand doing his sound, and you can kind of hear him in the background playing along with me too. So it gives me goosebumps. So it's fun to do. So just another feature in this instrument that I love using too. This I use all the time. There's a line kind of going across the bottom here. It's probably hard to see from where you're at, but there's a strip going across, and it says right here, it says touch bar. Do I have any volunteers? Can anybody tell me how a touch bar works? How do I use a touch bar? You guys can unmute if you know. Anybody? I see you thinking.
You just touch it.
Yeah, exactly, Robert. You touch it. And I love teaching classes about that kind of stuff because sometimes, we get to that subject and we're like, okay, today we're going to talk about the touch bar. And I see people getting their pads of paper out like, okay, I really got to know how to do this. And then I say, you touch it. And they go, oh, okay. But it's easy as that. Let me show you an example. This is a really fun tool. Because a lot of people, when you put your foot in that hole, a lot of people have that expression pedal where you kick to the right, and it does the fill, right? It does the FX or fill. And it's really fun to use, and it sounds great, but we have a lot of people where they go up and down on the volume on accident. Actually, Sonia, who's in here too, we were just talking about that the other day. She has that issue. This is kind of nice because you don't have to put your foot in the hole. You don't have to kick anything. You just touch it. So let's do an example here. I'm going to put on a contempo, short for contemporary. And let's go back to the 60s, the early 60s, there was a craze called surf music. So there's a rhythm in here called Surf's Up, and I am going to use the touch bar to do my fill. And like I said, this A series type instrument, they had all sorts of memory. So rather than just do a little drum fill, it actually does a whole part of the song. So I'm going to play Wipeout here, and you're going to watch me touch this. Let me switch the camera again. Touch this touch bar. Like I said, easy enough. You touch it. So you're going to see my hand come down here. Instead of playing chords, I'm going to touch this, and they're going to do some cool special effects. So here we go. There we go. So I kept accidentally kicking the switch at the same time as this so it didn't go off. But then once you touch this and hold it, it just keeps going. It's really fun, and you can hear all the special effects built into there too with the waves. So sometimes when I'm at home and I want to go to the beach, I miss the beach, you know. Not that much. I'm not a huge beach person, but if I want to go to the beach in my home, I go to my holiday classic and I go surfing. So that's a fun feature with the touch bar. And like I said, just touch it. Easy as that. So on this too, what's fun is they added a revolutionary feature. This is one of the biggest things you probably hear us talk about in a lot of the classes. When people say, well, how do I make this sound different? I'm used to this. I hear it all the time. And we say, touch alter style. There's a really cool button called alter style. And a lot of people think, well, what is that? I don't get it. I don't get it. It does exactly what it says. It alters your style. So some of you might have that button on here, some of you might not, but super easy to talk about because all it is, I take whatever band I want to play with. Say, some of you have this one, the big band button, where you get Glenn Miller. And who doesn't love Glenn Miller? But I put it on and I can play In the Mood just right. So here's just an example. It's a good song, In the Mood. We've heard it 1,000 times, and you might say, well, I want to play with Glenn Miller, but I want to play a different song. Well, that's where alter style comes in handy, because you could say, I want to play with Glenn, but you know what, Glenn, do something different. Because once you get these types of instruments, you're the boss. You're the conductor, not Glenn. You get to play with this band, though. So now I'm going to tell Glenn, hey, do something different. And listen how different the background sounds now. Now I could play something different. There's Glenn. So that's cool. You get Glenn Miller, and he's playing with you, not against you, you know. So that's really fun. That's Tuxedo Junction. That's a different Glenn Miller tune. Like I said, I can just tell him, play a different one. But what's great is you can not only use it to play a whole different song, but you can use it in the middle of a song. You know, so say you're playing a tune like, oh, actually I have some music here. I'm going to play a song called New York, New York. This will be my next number. And I don't have it memorized, so I have to use easy play music. Hopefully you can understand. Okay, so this is called New York, New York, and I'm going to start with the alter style off. I'm just going to play the song as it is. And then partway through the song, I'm going to reach up and touch alter style, and you're going to hear the band kind of play with me and sort of alter what they're doing. So same band, but they're going to alternate to something different. So here we go. Here's New York, New York. Where if I'm picking out a style like I just did here, I can touch Broadway. I went to Broadway. That's what I just pressed to get that rhythm. And what I do is if I want something other than what comes up, it tells me it's opener, which a lot of you have this if you have either Easy 10 or a Premier, like I know Sonia has here. You have opener. If I touch variations here, you can see it comes up nice and big on this screen, and I could just choose which different rhythm I want to go to. And I wanted to go to New York, so I chose New York, and it popped right up. So it's kind of nice. You can see everything really, really clearly. I don't have to like rub my eyes in the morning to try to see the screen. So that was New York, New York. Super fun to play. And as you noticed, a lot of these rhythms I'm playing are what are called signature styles. You might have heard that before. Like I said, I think some of you might have Easy 10s or Premiers like you do. And you have some of those. That's where those signature styles start. And they just go nuts on this instrument here. What's so fun is I can pick any type of artist, and I don't get to play something similar. I get to play with them. So that's what a signature style is. It's actually a style based on an original arrangement and an original artist. So if I want rock and roll, it's not just rock and roll. I've got choices on my screen. You can't see it, but on the bottom here, it says Fab Four. Does anybody know who the Fab Four are? I see people laughing. Yes, there was a famous band in the 1960s called the Beatles. You might not have heard of them. They didn't get too big or anything, but you have you can actually play with them on here. So I could say, you know, and this is just an example of kind of how hopefully easy this is as a hobbyist like you. That's what I am. I'm a hobbyist. I just play for the fun of it. Not a professional, but I like to say, oh, I love the Beatles. I want to play with them. So I grab a Beatles song, put it in front of me, and instead of just playing any old rock and roll rhythm, I play with the Beatles. I play with the Fab Four. So here's an example of my signature styles here. I'm playing with the Beatles. I don't know if I'll play the whole song because I've never played this and it looks like there's a lot of notes up here. So let's see what happens.
Woohoo!
I could be wrong, but I think somebody told me they actually hired Ringo Starr to play the drums in this instrument, so I'm just joking. I don't think he did. He's probably a little busy to do that sort of thing, but it feels like it. That's what's really fun. And, I may have screwed that song way up, but doesn't matter. I had a good time. And that's what's important, right? And that's why we're just having a fun, loose time today. So that was the Fab Four. Another cool feature, and this is something that's on all the big ones. So what's nice is you get it in a smaller package, a me-sized organ. I feel weird playing those great big ones because I'm not the biggest person, so a little uncomfortable for me. It's like sitting on a bike that's too big for me, or like me on a Harley Davidson chopper. I feel like I would look kind of goofy, so I feel comfortable with this. So, but they add a feature on here that's on those bigger ones that I love, and this you can use. You don't even need to have a rhythm on. It's called Golden Harp. You may have heard us say that in the classes as well. Super easy to use. There's a button. It says Golden Harp. What do you think you do? You touch it. I turn it on, and it's good to go. And what it is instead of having a whole rhythm to play with, I could just play with a harp player, harpist. I can have Harpo Marx playing with me. So I'm just going to put on the easy button and kind of show you how it sounds. Rather than just have a blank chord in the back, I could just touch any old chord, one finger.
That was fun.
But what if I want to play it with a rhythm? Can I do that? Sure, I can actually pull up my rhythm choices. I actually have the original Broadway Cats built into here too. There's a rhythm called Cat Memories, so I can play that same song and say, I want a harp player to play with me too. So let's listen to that. Here's just Cats. Oh my gosh, there's a cat in here. Gonna have to call pest control. I think there's actually a cat in there. Uh, that's so fun. You could play with the whole Broadway of cats, and you don't have to have them just creeping around the stage. I don't know if you guys have seen cats, but kind of creeped me out when I was younger. Um, but anyway, you could play with the golden harp going the whole time, and it sounds beautiful. All the features on here. Like I said, they take the high-end ones from the big stuff, and they put it in just a smaller size and a beautiful look. It even has what we talk about a lot of the classes too. Things like this. Does that look familiar? We probably talk about this kind of stuff sometimes when somebody says, "Well, I like all this stuff that I just did. I don't want to have to press all those buttons every time. What do I do?" We say, "Well, save it. Save your work." You can actually put it on a USB really easily. It just goes right in the hole here. There's a hole on the left side. Put it in, save it. Easy enough. You could even make, what's nice about the USBs, I know some people have things like the discs, and those do kind of the same thing. These are nice because you can put them in the computer and copy them and save copies just in case you lose it. You can put it on your computer and save it. Or I can even say, "Robert, check out what I did. It's so cool," and I can email it to him. I don't have to, ship this to him. I could just email the stuff on it, and he can listen to what I recorded, if he wants to, which he doesn't, but that's okay. So the USB, super, super handy tool. It's in all the higher end instruments and the Holiday Classic. And what's nice too, one thing I love a lot, if you guys have a favorite style of music, sometimes you want to play the instruments of those styles, like you like country guitars and banjos and fiddles if you're playing country music. Well, they actually put something new over here called category presets. So if you see me changing these numbers in the middle from time to time, or sometimes you see all the artists do that, we're always pressing these buttons in the middle. If you want to change what's in here, say all these sounds you're pulling up, you don't like them, you want to play your favorite country sounds. Well, they have a category of sounds called country, and big band, and show tunes, and Latin. All these popular sounds. Rather than try to pick a rhythm and come up with a bunch of stuff, you could just touch country and play whatever sound you want. But just, like I said, pick a number 1 through 10, and you get a good sound. Good country sound. So even number 1, they added a new instrument called a dobro. A dobro! I don't know what a dobro is, but I guess you play it with a slide. It's like a guitar type thing. So when I play it, we get a nice guitar type sound. But if I hit it a little harder, it actually automatically does a glide for you. Ooh. If I do any of these numbers, I'm going to get another instrument. So it's a lot of fun to play with these sounds, and I like to kind of match them up with, a rhythm style. Let's put on a rhythm called Roadside Cafe, and I'm just going to go through some of these country presets, and it's going to be the best possible country sounds. So let's just play some of them and see what happens. pretty cool. I get to pick out, just pick a number and it comes up with a good sound automatically. So that's just an example of how to use the categories. I use those all the time. Some people, I was actually just talking to a couple students the other day about this whole side of the instrument, which to every student, this is probably the most difficult thing to kind of understand. This is just where the sounds live. All the different sounds in your instrument, like, banjos and kazoos and clarinets, they're all over here. The hard part is finding them. Like I taught a class the other day and I said, this is your sound library. This is a library. Over here, these are your librarians. If you want a book about country, hire the country button here, call your librarian, and say, give me some good country books, or good country sounds. And the librarian, the country button, just puts all the best ones right here. It's kind of like getting a good book recommendation. They just give you all the good ones right there. So you don't have to go hunting through all these red and blue buttons. I never use those. I just use my 1 through 10 and my categories, and I get a good sound. So, in addition to a lot of sounds, a lot of new sounds built in, song setups. You guys use that probably all the time. Rather than, like I said, use this to find the sounds, I use the categories. And rather than try to find a good rhythm or style of music here, I just tell the instrument what song I want to play. That's it. So I could do I Want to Hold Your Hand like I did the Beatles. Rather than try to find the Beatles in here, I touch song setup and I get this alphabetical list. And it's hard to see from there, but it's actually really easy to see on this screen. It gives you kind of a whole list where you could see a bunch of different names at the same time. So you can go alphabetically through these. I'm going to go backwards, actually, through the alphabet. Ooh, this is a good song. I'm going to find one starting with the letter U for Unforgettable, which is another great, great, great signature style. And it's really fun to play with because it's not just like playing with any band. It's like playing with Nat King Cole's original band. So it gives you goosebumps just listening to it and getting to actually play with them. So I'm going to play Unforgettable. And this actually I'm going to use the music for too because I want it to go just right. So this is really fun. So I'm just going to use the song setup for Unforgettable. And it's going to set the song up perfectly for me. And I get to play with Nat King Cole. Here we go. Woo! That's really fun to play with. It actually does give me goosebumps. I don't know why. It's just like playing with the original artists. It's exciting. Thank you. My audience is cheering. That feels good. Uh, but that does feel really good to play with. And as you can see, I'm kind of doing this in between where you can hear all the strings and stuff like that because I like to feel like I'm actually a conductor when I play these songs. I like to do this and just pretend I'm standing in front of a bunch of people and conducting. It's just really, really fun to do. And really easy songs to play. And I get my original artist. So, well, I'm going to play maybe one more song, and then I think we can start our experiment here, where what we came to do. But I hope you enjoyed the holiday classic, one of my favorite instruments to play on. As you can tell, it's just super comfortable for me. It's really, really a nice comfort food for your fingers. But it's a nice, comfortable instrument to play, and I love it. So it's what I picked for my showcase of the day. So I'll play one more tune, and I'm going to use a feature called Bank Presets, where I actually saved my work. Like I said before, it's kind of cool. If you don't want to do all these button pressing beforehand, just do it once and set it and forget it. And like I said, you can get your USB and say, I want to play that song that I worked so hard on. Put it in and play. So I'm going to use that right now. And I'm going to play a new Dixieland band that they put in here. So with Louis Armstrong's actual trumpet, one of my all-time favorite trumpet players. Let me switch the camera here. Here's my Dixieland band. Woo!
Big round of applause.
Thank you. That was
Maybe we
fun.
can unmute ourselves and give Sean a big one, two, three, four, several people of applause.
Give me several hands.
Yeah,
Yes.
great job. That was awesome.
That's just me having a good time.
I learned quite a bit.
Good.
Well, okay, so now I'm going to try this little bit, this experiment.